Ahoy there! Welcome back to the series. In this episode, we will deal with a subject that is not so easy, quite complicated. But I wanted to do it on camera because I think it will be way easier for people who don't know how to make states to see it being done on camera. So I already see that lightning is very weird, so I'm gonna fix this. Yeah, I want to make it on camera because states can be very hard to make, and when you don't know how to make those, especially that thing of what do you do first, then what do you do, and etc. etc. Because it just goes in all the directions at once. So yeah. We will just start by going in Godot and making the most basic things that we need for states. Okay, so before we start, I just want to talk very quickly about the state pattern. So we call this a state pattern for a reason. It is actually a programming patterns that we use to make specific behaviors. The state pattern is very useful, especially in making games. The variety of things you can do with states is just absolutely insane. And basically what it does is it allows you to separate different behaviors, different ways of doing things in states of one single component, right? So the easiest way to describe this is you have a character. The character is either running, idle, jumping, falling, etc., etc. So in our case, what we want to do is to basically have a state that will manage this combat view here. Because what we have is basically a Pokemon generation, then we fight a Pokemon, then we eventually go in capture mode, if there's the capture mode allowed, and then when that's done, we go back to generating a Pokemon, and we go back to fighting a Pokemon. So what we can do really is make a drawing that shows us all the different states. And I think I will do this to make it a little bit easier for you to visualize what I'm talking about. Okay, so I defined a few states, right? So I really want you to understand that those are not fixed and might actually be lacking and stuff, etc. Because I can't think of everything just like that. So yeah, here we have the main loop of the game. So we want to generate Pokemon. When the Pokemon is generated, we have the combat loop. And from the combat loop, we can either go into capture or go back to generating Pokemon. Then the capture can also end up by generating a Pokemon. And at any moment, so that's one that's going to be quite annoying, but at any moment, we can decide to actually leave the route, whoops, like this. Okay. Then we have the enter route and the idle, but let's go with that one later. Yep. Here, the main state, so yeah, we generate, and once the Pokemon is generated, we have only one option. The only option we have is to combat. Then from combat, we have two options, which are capture or generate a new one. Or at any moment, we can leave the route by choosing to enter a new one. Capture is quite the same. There's only one option. When the capture is done, we generate a new one, or we can leave while we are capturing. There, when we leave the route, there is only one option at this point. It's entering a new one. And when you're entering a route, there's two options again. Either we are in a route with Pokemon, so we go into generating a Pokemon, or we are in a town or something like this, so we can go idle. And again, idle can lead you to leaving the route like this. Maybe I can organize those a little bit better. But loop, capture. Yes, that's really not the best, but at least you get the point. So those arrows basically say when a state should be allowed to go into another state. So we can do it like the very hard way and code the thing to say that when we are in idle state, we can generate Pokemon. We can do things like this. But at the moment, that will just be like this. That we won't hard code all those kinds of checks. That would take way too much time. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna think about the route, okay? Leave and enter route, generate Pokemon, and include the combat loop. We are not gonna think about the capture at the moment because it would imply creating the capture system, so we will ignore it. So when we are making a state pattern like this, we will need two main things. The first thing we need is an abstract class, which will be the state class somehow. And we need a state manager. So the abstract class is basically a class that will be inherited by all the states here, so that the common behavior between those states is contained within that abstract class. Then the state manager, which will be another class, will be responsible of keeping track of which state we currently are in and controlling all the things that the states should do based on the abstract class. That will make a little bit more sense when we do things. But we have this running, right? 700, that's nice. So what we want to do is create the abstract. So I'm gonna create just a folder abstracts because I don't know where I want to put this at the moment. And I will create a script, which is gonna be abstract state. Where is it? So since I will do it the Godot way, I will attach my states to nodes. All right, so I wanted to extend node. As for the class name, it's going to be abstract state. So abstract state in and of itself pretty much works for any state pattern, right? Because sometimes you do need to have your abstract state class to be specific for the pattern you're using. But this time, not necessary. I guess not. Let's hope not. So the typical way of doing this is to have a enter state, a leave state, and a process method. So the idea is that we do want our state to do things when we enter it, when we leave it, and every frame. There will be a little bit catch though. The process method that we will use for the every frame, we can't use the actual underscore process method, because if we do that, the problem is that all the states will keep going every frame, even if they're not the current state. So we need to create another process method which is controlled by the state manager. And this one will have the real process method. So we're just going to create three methods, which are enter, leave, and process. While making this, I realized that you may not know how abstract classes work. So usually when we make abstract classes, we use virtual functions, which are meant to be overwritten. Overriding a function is what we do every time that we call on the entry, ready, or process method, or init. We actually take an existing method, which comes from higher in the nodes hierarchy, inheritance hierarchy, and we redefine what it does. Okay? So here, this class being an abstract, what we do say basically is those methods are meant to be overwritten. They are not meant to be working like this. So what we do is, what I do is I have this little print error to say that, oh, this method is not overwritten, and that's the problem, right? So now when we will inherit abstract states, we will actually redefine those methods, right? There is in Godot a thing which says that methods which must be overwritten are preceded by an underscore. Maybe I don't see it making sense right now. That, just so you know, it's usual in Godot to have virtual classes preceded by underscore. However, there are just so many things that are preceded with underscores that it makes it sometimes a little bit weird, because private classes are also preceded with underscores. So I don't know, it's kind of weird in my brain at the moment. But now you know. Right, so now we have this state thing going on. So what we need to do is to, well, create all the states, okay, and also create a state manager. So we will have those things in our main view. Yes, I think we will. So what I'm going to do is, in my main view, I will create a gray node, which I will name scripts. In there, I will create another gray node, which is going to be state manager. And in there, I will actually create more nodes, which will be the different states. So we will have this enter route, leave route, generate Pokemon, combat. Right. Okay. So in there, I do need to create a state manager. So what I'm going to do is like this. I will just add a script to it, which is going to be state manager.gd. Since it's in the main view folder, we know what it does. So that's going to be main view state manager. And the first thing we want to do is define all the states. Okay? So we will create variables, properties, for each of the states that we will use. So we will have enter root state, and we will type them with the abstract state class. That's important. Even though they do inherit and are they own, they are their own, even though they have their own type, we do still want to do things with this abstract state because they will be interchangeable. So we do want the type of all the states to be the same, right? So we can be sure that we don't make mistakes. Those states will be nodes. So what we will do is we will actually export them so we can define with the editor which state is which node. So I'm going to export all these states. Okay, now we have all the states defined. What we must do is create a new variable which will contain the current state, right? So we will have the current state, which is going to be an abstract state. So this is why it's important that all of these guys have the same type, right? Because the current state is abstract state. So if they all have their own type, doesn't work. Well, it can work, but it's not static typing friendly. And if you're using C#, which you're probably not doing because you would be on C# guides, you couldn't work with variant types, I guess. Right. Now that we have this, we need to do the most important method of the state manager, which is the change state method. So basically what we want there is to get a new state, right? So we will have a state of type abstract state again, and we will change the state from one to another. What this will mean is that we will call on the state methods, which are the leave state method, and then the enter state method of the new one, right? Just before anything, I'm checking that there is a state, right? Because if there's, that's pretty much for the start of the game. When you start the game, you have no state in, so you might want just to check if there's a state. If there's no state, you want to just install the first one. Otherwise, well, you get what I mean. When you launch the game, there's no state in, so you want to make that check. You can make that check, I mean. So if there's a state, you want to have the current state dot leave state method to be called on. Then you want to check something. Oh, that's just one thing. I'm gonna make a first check, which is if state is different than current state. Then we want to go through it. So basically what this means is if we're trying to change the state, but we are trying to change it for the same state, we will instantly return. So we're going to go with, if the state is the same, I want to return. Otherwise, if there's a state, I want to leave. I want to have current state.leave state. And then I want to change the state. So current state is going to become state. And we will have current state dot enter state method. Right. Let's go with that. The next thing we want to do is to basically have the real process method, which is, there we go, underscore, process, and we want to call on current state dot process and give it delta, I guess. So this way we know that only the current state has its process method being called. So that's cool. All right. So here we have the state manager. So now we need to assign the enter root. Oh, we can't yet because they don't have their scripts. So maybe we can create the scripts now. Right. So we do have all the states being referenced. So now it's just a matter of populating every state, right? So it's the tedious part, especially since I absolutely have no idea what I want to do. And maybe I will create a main script because I will need this. That will be main or master, doesn't matter. But that's gonna be a main view master. So actually I should have named all my states main view something. Main view state probably. I can change this later on if I need to. So here I will have everything that is in common between all the states, right? Everything that must be, well, that could go in the state manager really, but anyway. I'm gonna store the root here at the moment. Because we don't have a component that allows us to change the root. So we will have this. Well, actually, you know what? We'll go in data. And that will be current root. That will be string. And that will be 0, 0. So that way we can go there. And we can go with onReady. Have our variable data, type data, equal to game.ref.data. So we will start by generating Pokemon, we said. So here, we do have our enter state method. We have our process and our leave state. The process, there's a problem. Oh yes, delta. So here in generate Pokemon, we don't have much to do. You know, process and leave state, they're meant to be empty. So that's cool. All the magic will happen in the empty state. So what we will do is just grab the reset method, basically. Where is it? It's actually there. So we have the reset method there. So yeah, we basically just want to grab this, except that we don't want to grab those Pokédollar thing. So we will want to grab all this. And paste it there. All right. And we're going to have a lot of problems. So what we're going to do is we will create a variable there, which is going to be a reference to the master. And that will be main view master, I think it was. Yes. So what we'll do is right there, write generate Pokemon. Yes, okay, there's errors, so I can do that right away. So there. There we have, that will come from master, total weight. Encounter in encounter table, again, that will come from master. Counter, right? Counter around Pokemon. So that's global and right there. That will come from master. That will come from master. And this one too. Oh. All right. And there also we will have to change this. All right, give me a sec. And I think we're good. Okay, there's a lot of things. That's all right. So now we can assign master right there. So, of course, when we enter the state, we must call on reset right there. And I realized that main is way easier to type than master. So here, actually, I don't need to change this because we still have access to the unique nodes. So it's cool. Yep. So once the reset is done, we actually want to change the state. So here, we will need to grab the state manager. Whoa. Manager. So that is main view state manager. And we can go with state manager dot change states. And again, this time we grab state manager dot combat state right there. Okay. Now maybe we can just go very lazy and copy paste this, except that we don't need the textures. So let's have this in master being pasted. So onReady goes after. There's an order to not to respect, but you know, you usually have experts, then variables, then onReady, and I think private variables even later on. Anyway. But at the moment damage is 1, it's alright. And I think that in generic Pokemon we have low HP, so let's go between 9 and 12. Alright. So now we have to generate Pokemon things, and we have no warning, that's a great thing. Okay. As for the combat loop, there. I think we will need those two guys again. I'm just gonna copy paste this. Alright. Grab them. And I think we forgot, yeah, state manager here. Alright. So in the combat state, what I'm gonna do is I will create a timer node right there. I will rename it combat timer, just to be sure. Auto start, no. One shot, no. And what I will do is I will control this timer with the enter and leave state methods, right? So right there we will have okay, so very simple. When we enter the state, we start the timer, and when we leave, we stop it. Simple. There is one thing, yeah, we need now to grab the, you know, I will get it. I will get it. The signal from the button. No. Oh, from the timer. Okay, my brain is already killing itself. So yeah, we need to grab the signal here and have it have an effect in the combat state. So actually we can have the method in combat, or we can have the method in mastery. That doesn't really matter at this point, but let's have it in combat. But if you're wondering, I think there we have an underscore by default because it's supposed to be private, or because it's supposed to be a signal trigger. Could be both. So here we want to create a new method, which is going to be damage. Let's just grab the damage method from there. Where is it? There. Okay, Pokemon attack. No, we have master.hp. Here, this thing we will change, right? So if the HP is 0, what we want to do is grab state manager and change the state to generate a new Pokemon. So that's state manager dot generate Pokemon state. And right there, we need to go on master.update lift HP. So that we need to add in master now. Where is it? It's there. You go in master. There we go. Do we have, yes, the progress bar here. We need to reference it. Okay, okay. So we have the combat state, right? Oh yeah, I'm on the wrong script. So we do things with master when it's necessary, and what we want to do there, right? When the combat timer times out, we want to have the Pokemon attack. Okay. So maybe what we want to do, oh, there's a warning. Update lift HP is not, oh, that's because it's not saved. Maybe what we want to do is enable or disable the ability to click when we enter and leave combat, right? So right there, we have our texture button. And what we want to do maybe is add this export to the var clicker. This is going to be texture button. So when we enter the state, we want texture button dot disable to be equal to false. And when we leave the state, we want the texture button dot disabled to be equal to true. This way, when we are not in combat, we shouldn't be able to click to do damages. So maybe now we can just grab this, click attack, have it in combat as well, because that's where we have our combat stuff, and add tons of masters. All right. So we need to rebind the texture button to access click attack from the state now. So we'll connect to combat. Yep, untexture button pressed, and there we will have click attack. Yep. All right. I think we're done with this combat thing. So enter root. No, we did nothing yet. So now what we need to do is to basically, got this initialize root thing happen when we enter a new root, all right? So let's grab initialize root and go in enter root. Okay, what do we have? So we need master. Yeah, we need master. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna assign them. Oh no, I can't. So okay, encounter table is gonna be in master. All right. There's gonna be one thing different there. That I will change. I will say root ID. So I'm gonna create a new root ID variable, which is gonna be equal to game.ref.data.current root. All right. And this has to come in my enter state method. And obviously, when we're done initializing the root, we want to automatically switch to the state manager.combat state. So now we do have combat, we have generate Pokemon, we don't have leave route, and we have enter route. So basically, yeah, we can just copy all this, well, actually all this in leave route. But what we're gonna do there is it flush? I'm gonna go with clear route, and we wanna go then in enter route state. So here we need to rename this clear route. So we don't need a route ID. We don't need to grab anything from the database. We want the total weight to be reset to -1 and the total weight as well. Master dot total weight. Well, and count table is going to be equal to empty array. Or maybe null. Let's go with null. Nope. That's going to be empty array then. Okay. So let's see, what do we have there? Ready, so we initialize the root. Oh yes, we missed the Pokédollar thing. So at the moment, what I'm gonna do is I will have the Pokédollar thing happen when we leave combat state, because if we leave combat state, well, not necessarily. Well, I know where I go. I will trigger it anyway. So we're just copying those instructions. We go in combat, and I will create a new method, which is I will name this Pokemon defeated. Oh, jeez. That's going to be on Pokemon defeated. And wait. No, I need game.ref.data there. Right? That I can get rid of. And I need to copy this method, state change to generate Pokemon. And there I can call on Pokemon defeated. Right there. And do the same here on Pokemon defeated. Okay, so that when the Pokemon is defeated, we create new Pokédollars and we generate a new Pokemon. And now I can actually get rid of this node, all right? Because the Pokédollar anyway is now being shown in the currency view. So yeah, if everything's fine, I'm so scared right now, you have no idea. Yeah, I need to initialize just the states a little bit. Let's just check the ready method. So we want to initialize the root, update the total, reset, update left HP. So we want to initialize left HP and well, actually that will be done in the generate Pokemon thing. So the only thing I should do is right there. When we are ready, we want to change state to enter root state. And this should get the ball rolling. I'm so scared. Okay, let's deattach the script. So now all the scripts we have are there. Okay. False. Yes. I get my mistake. That's kind of stupid, really. I was actually checking on the argument and not the actual state. Wow, that feels bad. So I may have forgotten to. Let's just make it round. So here we're good. Here we're good. Yes, master, state manager, and leave route probably as well. Master, state manager, generate Pokemon's good. Combat timer, dials the combat timer, and the texture button. Okay, that should be better. Okay. I think I've seen something weird. Yep. So we need in there the progress bar is a bit weird. It's kind of weird that when the Pokemon is generated, the progress bar is empty. But only on the first one? Okay, that's creepy. Why? You know what? That's something I will have to think about later on. Do I want to think about this right now? Okay. So the problem was that when we initialize the route, we go in the combat state while we should go in the generate Pokemon state. I can get rid of all my breakpoints. And that should be working now. Yes. What? 12 out of 10? Probably that's because something is set up as... That's because we don't have an update to master lift HP. Master dot... Is that it? Right. What's behind me? Is that my whiteboard? I think it's the whiteboard. So yeah, I actually added the master dot update lift HP when we generate a new Pokemon. So now it's actually working well. So the point is that at any moment we should be able to change the route and get a brand new encounter table. And that is gonna happen in the next episode. That's a little bit of suspense. I don't know. But yeah, that's a little bit anti-climatic because nothing changed. Nothing's changed. That's so sad. We got rid of this little label here. But we got this super sexy state machine now. Well, I don't know. I'm flabbergasted by the amount of nothingness in my brain right now. So yeah, that's gonna be all we do for this episode. Um, I'm completely exhausted, I think. I hope you do enjoy this episode. That was very challenging to make for me. Make this on camera while not knowing what to do at the same time. So anyway, I hope you liked it and that you're eager to see what's coming in the next episode. So yeah, I will see you in the next episode and take care.